This is Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look at the news making headlines. First up, the Northwest Legislature Speaker to officially open the 7th Legislature tomorrow, and 12 Pretoria girls high for learners suspended for suspected racism. In the business news, Kumba Ain or acknowledges GNU's plans to rail reform, and in the sports news, Betway becomes the official partner of the PSL. We begin here. The Speaker of the Northwest Provincial Legislature, Honorable Desbo Mohana, will officially open the 7th Northwest Provincial Legislature, wherein Premier Lazarus Mokhotsi will deliver the inaugural address on Thursday at the Mabatu Stadium at 10 a.m. In his address, Premier Mokhotsi is expected to align the 7th Administration's service delivery plans and priorities that are aimed at addressing the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment and inequalities. Furthermore, the Premier will articulate the provincial government's investment initiatives in an endeavor to boost the province's economy, themed the Year of Unity, Socio-Economic Renewal and Nation Building. The opening of the 7th Provincial Legislature ceremony will be attended by guests and stakeholders, including members of the Provincial Legislature, members of the Provincial House of Traditional Leaders, religious leaders, ambassadors, private sector representatives, community members and the media. In other news, the Gauteng Department of Education is aware that about 12 learners from the Pretoria High School for Girls were suspended in response to allegations of racism at the school. Here's Gauteng's Department of Education spokesperson, Steve Mabona, with more.
Steve Mabona, Gauteng Education spokesperson. The Gauteng Department of Education is aware that about 12 learners from Pretoria High School for Girls were suspended in response to the allegations of racism at the school. Accordingly, on the 18th of July 2024, the school alerted the district about a planned protest by a group of learners, which was scheduled for Friday, the 19th of July 2024. We understand that this was triggered by an alleged racial connotations and complaints about black learners, which were ventilated through a WhatsApp group comprising of white learners only. The conversations allegedly included racial commentaries about the dissatisfaction among the black learners regarding issues they faced at the school, alluding to these issues as being insignificant. Among others, the black hair protest was also mentioned in the WhatsApp group. This is an incident that occurred in 2016. An urgent meeting was then facilitated with all the affected or the group of learners that were planning to protest so that they can be given a hearing on their grievances, which included alleged racism and a WhatsApp group created by and consisting of only white learners, where alleged racial connotations were then channeled to other learners. Alleged repeated instances of racism with little to no action allegedly taken by the principal. Alleged non-responsiveness by the principal in addressing some of the issues of racism that were put on her table. Alleged bullying incidences not being addressed by the school management team. They also indicated that there's alleged preferential treatment to white learners by the principal and some staff members. Alleged selective application of the school code of conduct, which they deem to be harsher to the black learners when you compare with the white learners. All these are allegations. And the SGB decided to suspend all implicated learners, and their disciplinary hearing will then be taking place on the 30th and the 31st of July 2024. The district has already launched its own investigation, especially against allegations that were put on the table, which affect our employees at the school. it is important that the school environment is that of an environment that does not compromises the right of education, and it should be a safe environment. Hence, the MEC has indicated that an environment should be that of, conducive, and we cannot allow any, ill discipline or any racial connotations that will then be practiced in any of our schools. But he did indicate that they will monitor this situation closely for any further action.
In other news, the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party says it has shown that it is not a violent political organization after holding a peaceful picket near the African National Congress's headquarters. There was heavy police presence on Tuesday around the ANC's Lutuli House, where hundreds gathered at Baisnodia Square in Johannesburg to show support for their leader, Jacob Zuma. Now, Zuma was appearing virtually before the ANC's disciplinary committee, where he is charged with bringing the party into disrepute. MK Johannesburg convener Theo Dlamini said that there was no need for the hearing to be held online. In international news, the head of the United States Secret Service has stepped down following the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. According to a source, Kimberly Chiattle sent an email to staff on Tuesday announcing her plans to step down. Now, Chiattle has been under pressure from lawmakers to resign as questions continue swirling around security protocols at Trump's July 13 rally in Pennsylvania, where the former president and Republican presidential nominee was shot in the ear. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas also said later in the day that he had appointed Ronald Rowe, the Secret Service Deputy Director, to serve as acting director following Chiattle's resignation. And with that, let's now take a look at the business news. In the business news, Anglo Americans PLC South African Iron Ore Unit said that the country's new government is committed to grappling with logistics bottlenecks that are limiting exports, while acknowledging the problem could take several years to resolve. Kumba said the profit in the first half of the year fell 26% to 7.1 billion rand compared to the same period in 2023 due to lower iron ore prices and sale volumes. The company has 8.2 million tons of iron ore stockpiled, with 90% stored at the mine site, representing a rise of 1.1 million tons in the past 6 months. The Anglo subsidiary was already working with the previous administration on ways to improve the crucial infrastructure, while the immediate ambition is to collaborate with the authorities to prevent a further deterioration of Transnet's performance. Now, the company ultimately would like to see the port and rail asset concessioned to the new operations. In more business news, Energy Regulator NERSA's Electricity Subcommittee on Friday unanimously recommended that the regulator reject Eskom's application to reserve grid capacity in constrained areas for renewable energy projects procured by the state. This would have been at the detriment of projects contracted by the private sector entities. Now, this will bring relief to the booming private energy supply industry, which feared being excluded from the remaining grid capacity, especially in restrained areas like the Eastern, Western and the Northern Cape. Non-profit company Green Cape believes that this market can attract investments of about 214 billion rand or 36 billion annually from now until 2030, doubling the government's green power purchases. If Eskom succeeds with this application, it could negatively impact such investments. And that's all from the business news. Up next, we wrap up with the sports. In soccer news, PSL chairman Dr. Ivan Khoza officially announced Betway as the title sponsor for the Premier Soccer League earlier today at a media briefing. And the international betting company founded in Malta takes over from multi-choice subsidiary DStv, whose sponsorship comes to an immediate end a year earlier than it was contracted for. Dr. Khoza also confirmed that the 2024-2025 Betway Premiership season will start on the 10th of September 2024. Though the Betway Premiership will only kickstart in 6 weeks, the MTN 8 will take centre stage from the 3rd of August as confirmed by the PSL boss. Fixtures, prize money, reserve leagues and the trophy will be announced soon. Now, DStv will continue to be the main broadcaster of all PSL games. Betway stepped in after the DStv pulled the plug on the sponsorship on a year remaining on a deal that was struck back in September 2020 after taking over from ABSA. In rugby news, Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus named a strong 33-man squad led by double Rugby World Cup winning captain Siya Kolisi for this year's Rugby Championship, which kicks off against the Wallabies in Brisbane on the 10th of August. 22 of the 33 players are Rugby World Cup winners, while 5 2024 debutants are included in the squad. That's Jan Hendrik Wessels, Johan Grobelaar, Sacha Feinberg Mgomezulu, Ben Jansen Dixon and Morne van den Berg. Meanwhile, Andre Esterhuizen has been banned for 4 matches following his red card for the Springbok against Portugal this past Saturday. The centre received his marching orders after his head-on-head tackle with Jose Lima in the 2nd minute of the clash in Bloemfontein. The incident was determined to be mid-range, which resulted in a 6-week suspension before mitigation was applied and reduced to 4. Esterhuizen can also get another week chalked off if he attends a World Rugby Coaching Intervention Program. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.